june tarige gyat nam tarige gu iskala Royal Enfield social mission inangkuwa ngaje Kharua dine Camp Kharu zete facility jiga uzuk semdel tusnya kawina dine ngati Kharu de ata amat sokspa facility jorpa dine facility usulatre dine facility bina ngata ladak se tonta talrig nang dine ngata washroom lakme talrig korean spa indo ngati ladak spa mi gotena dina manpa dine ngaje facility bina ngata exhibition minda ngati culture indo art indo kesana ka exhibition ngaje ka fuche sande dene facility ko ngata jikine jisal nga pulsuna ngati kapak gutir six ngali kapak yang posuk tino ka ngati hane ladak se ngata kapal sikche ya de ngata sikche kap sigin no ka ma ngata koyuk se thoknestana mastandi chanji ya Yo man patene ina ngai jam singan ngati de ladak spagul la se ko simles pela ngije painting stendo dene ya ikangata to sota nyasi ka bari re so fari singa chala kindo dene ngata contractor jing na ladak spa dene ngata saman yuche singa sama jam singan ngaje ladak spa ikangai to so to do chusta dene ina dene ama tuka khamu ngata Kharu gamyu khang ni gale dene khong dene ngaje mane meeting khachik de dene peste salve contenido dene khorang mona ma do start to last chesena chesina dene flash images dene khorang mona din sampe yongo yongchese edushika ngata chese ma yongo yongane ya spell kane edushika record video ga ta ke focus kala dene khona ngata ye chukwa dene khoshe to bano ka khone khorang mona chukune yontan fer colches dene khorang mone yang khampe chi ngata na chamare kosto matia ke samala colches dena man patele khone modu pati bejaste kona manang ya blog ilo ane kachuna ngata pura mane ma hampanya ko esperanza ni ches na laksa tijik hampaya unta sina ma pura production ya ches na kong nang jande nang ne pinguji ches bejaste dene mata ches ba ta ma kato chiki ches ya train yo shitio group ni ko na tamshina ta skill yo shitio mi de teo ngaji ko na kule kila training of ya expert na ngaji ko na mata bil ka do jono computer ka do shula no dene ngati ito dushika ya mata lakhang jiga na teo ka do shula no dene mi ko na ngati rompes na ko na ngata ko jam shi shula no na ngaji lakh ya mata ti ngaji ko goa na Mumbai ang exposure driven testing kawina dene ko ni mane mata mincha mata kharji tak ka share jo teo na ko last that day ya teo na rock that day kharji minna benda aka jo ata mama mincha dene ngaji issue den na idi chochese idi chochese ki mata yung just ane Uzbekistan na lada place ma sama marangata tourist indo ya mata ta local area tali coxion washin khas karke ngata washroom ji tali coxion washin ka bo ya public place na teo zikna tushik mane demo ji miru khala khas karke Kharu gun chokse market na karwa ngata tourist se mane footfall mane mangko yo se mixi kurte ngaje I zu pochoste facility choste then you see ngata cafe na washroom ji na chokte ko limited maduga ngai tina tukunar kunna tuition kam cheste ne community mati kuna biguna tele government schemes minda kapte scholarship ches khas karke pomo nang mata juru guna
to kind of run this whole place and of course now we are set to see the first tourist season for Kharu. This is going to be the first tourist season and we are still in bit of a prep mode but hopefully we'll get there pretty soon. Just a couple of points on the green pit stop idea itself. Of course this is the first one that we have gone live with and today we are celebrating Camp Kharu with all of you here. But we do have a few more planned as well and we've looked at some of these, you know, they're all on popular travel routes, on popular riding routes. Pivot each pit stop on a different idea. Is responsible travel. We have another one coming up in Babeli in Kulu, which should also
that it's created has multiple repercussions on the environment in terms of the resources that we use, in terms of the climate impacts that it has. The building sector is responsible for over like 40% of the global carbon emissions. So there's a clear environmental impact. We see our landscapes being ravaged for mining of resources and such. So how these places get built have a huge impact there. They have a social connotation because the buildings are an interface between people and the built environment themselves. So how do these things translate into design decisions and material choices is something that's of paramount importance.
Architecture in Ladakh for the last 10 years. So the move happened from a city to a rural place in the sense of how we are taught architecture in architectural schools, where all the solutions are for urban problems. You know, none of the school of thoughts in any of the architecture colleges are related towards rural places. And in literal sense of the word, rural is always considered backward and urban is always considered forward. And this is something I really saw, where rural is actually much richer than urban places in terms of resources. Where
everything comes down in a tangible form in an architecture space. And we know that architecture and our space influences us, our decisions, our moods, emotions. And so for me it is a very simple, as Sandeep also said, the ecological part, local materials, the local craftsmanship, that is an expression of the wisdom that has been carried through in the cultural values. And that should be the fundamental way of building. There's no other way of like looking at architecture in that way. But architecture for me has the power where it can basically take forward the values, the intangibles. So it's kind of the tangible expression of that in a very prominent and a heavy way on which influences us. And for me, the practice has always been, to get back to my roots more and more, to learn not just the architectural value, but let's say the value of the forest and of the agriculture, of cattle, of relationship between man and nature. And everything that comes down from a very different scale. So from a scale of, let's say, making a furniture piece or an activity that happens in the space to the final built environment. So my way of looking at it is somewhere in those lines.
Right now I'm collaborating with a dear friend of mine who's a theatre practitioner as well as a chef. So the project is, nothing much, not as such as like a performance in itself, but it's more like a sharing. It's a very personal experience that I've gone through while I was documenting all the kitchen from end to end. It's still halfway through and I still have to cover a lot. And then I'll have to kind of process that into, bring it to a very, in terms of a public memory. In other words, what we call artwork at the end. So for this particular project, while I was also halfway through, I wanted to kind of experience and share with the general public as to how it feels. And I wanted to kind of convert or simulate the whole idea of somebody's personal house in a manner in this space. So from the details of like these sheets to photographs and then those drawings are also an assimilation of the aesthetics that I've seen and processed, and sometimes those are also like personal reflections that I've put together to kind of question the whole idea of what identity means, wherein all sort of these foreign objects comes and goes, and sometimes there is these metal workers, there are the traditional artifacts also coming together to form this whole idea of identity as such. So for me, this is currently, it speaks to me, this kind of kitsch objects, or so to speak, or like whatever materials that is available from cheapest to the highest expensive. So I wanted to kind of share that along while we also kind of make some momos, and I can also show you how. In Nemo, my grandfather used to, when I see him, while I was growing up, I saw him making momos, and they would make momos in the water until it gets upside down. and that's when apparently it's boiled. Back then I didn't see this kind of filter steamed momo that was very new to me. When my grandma came in, she would add masalas to it. Also around that time the masalas were very new, and so some black pepper and garam masalas were added.
Tani actually kahalale Royal Enfield chokne tani ngija Kharu atma daksa amale gulla tani actually gulla iga zukshi restaurant ya zukatal khaji halale ngatang rai ladak se khaji tangchis iga sal du pangi je tani I bo ko demo ji ko shigrak tani soso ji ko shigrak tani phantok lu mangche bo ko shigrak
Kasa cucu juli, gom tampo tangi jai kami di pasang mas kerja dah ni tampan itu je cucu cerita ngajar cina mau sangkai cuma yel. Ini tampo ngajar mem cuma rumah leto casi Royal Enfield cuma ngajar amat tu beda le. Ngajar sekarang tak ada cuma ikalah suara yang tanya le. Jadi aku ngajar pun manggung dengan salah salah dia le. Ini Royal Enfield cuma ngajar building bos six cuma salses bawa ni tampan Royal Enfield mem cuma rumah le mem di semua terus di pun malah tu je cucu cerita ngajar sampai cuma yel. Incinga Kharu purang ne lo seninga jana ko ika yong tinga ro sa jon de nau sos pata isi kushki purang na jayale ko iskuti la na jay exam sige to se tinga ja esto de ajuna mo pe to ya chiti tinga ja bombe khira da tinga ja goa khira da tiru ngata na dotang na su dotang bo chichi ngata do na te soma ni soma la puche la tu su te iski pura jayale desine tinga ja ko bekri na te soma be jongal mo pe sala jayale Tapi aku ni tak pandai cuci tak tengah jadi tu sikit pun raya ni. Tapi ni aja cang ina las ni pala hampa tu se tena chas mari badan jignang rana las mangum setan itu jignang. Jadi cuci layan tadi kan se halan. Cuci ni biar tu jadi tak. Kau yang aja kau skutin lagi kan ni kau mangum yang asal tu. Jadi aja ikan sam sikit tu biar kau skutin budget tu semula raya ni. Jadi cuci kai kau aja tak halan dah cuci cici tu cuci las sanggup deh las sangat mangum sama tene kome ka shotan kuno nuna ko samjik shona te ka ton tanga zu kuchi zemte samai sorlang lo te mas ko regale kome chona de ti sama thote ga jamane se ma thatu rang chote kasa
tene don tam ka zuk jigina zuk chat le daksa
kasa chu tene nga ta la se na nga ta chi dona tene baba ta ta tu jira so tene chu ta gi sku tene trapu Hemar Paksamar ki samangata amane donta chi dona namme chi dena samanga je kane thobar le kasa ngai phule di kadon ko sush kan kasa tene soja khante ya linga ta soja marmo tene kan ta black tea ta chi sama thobar le se siba thon juice ngata na chatal bi juice bo la zamin kan bo te sama thobar chu kasa
Indonesia ikaya bela daksa ngata tamshi restaurant chiga ngata tara local meal Déjà response au coach
kasa chu dene thummi nga jaya le yu ika khashi mane don ta mo ma gela chu da mo le na ma ko shu nga ya ji tempo bunya diwan sikam samme da contact da de ka khwan da guru ya le dene mane don ta sin ko da mo le na la demand sa dene nga ji demand na sin se chu kasa le
Thank you.